I certainly appreciate the fight. But man, we got to be cleaner. We got to be better. And we weren't tonight. And that's life in this business.
The Pittsburgh Steelers fell 33-31 to the Cincinnati Bengals on Thursday night, another tough divisional loss. But behind that scoreline lies something far more alarming. A number buried deep in the stats, one that's now haunting Mike Tomlin's era in Pittsburgh. When it surfaced, it stunned the entire NFL world.
You know, a tough, hard-fought game, but certainly got to give credit to those guys, the Bengals. They did what was required to win. They made a few more plays than we did.
Thursday night's loss to Cincinnati exposed a persistent problem. The Steelers scored 7 points in the first quarter on an opening drive touchdown. That touchdown put Tomlin in possession of a streak he never wanted. The Steelers have now played 56 consecutive games without scoring more than 7 points in the first quarter. That ties the NFL record by one head coach. For a franchise record not tied to a specific head coach, Pittsburgh's current streak ranks as one of the longest in NFL history. The team now sits tied for the 7th longest ever. The Steelers match the Los Angeles Chargers and Seattle Seahawks from 1990 to 1993, though that streak was split between coaches Chuck Knox and Tom Flores. Mike Tomlin was named the 16th head coach in Pittsburgh Steelers history on the 22nd of January 2007. At age 34, he became only the 3rd head coach hired by the franchise since 1969. He succeeded Bill Cowher, who spent 15 seasons with the team and won 1 Super Bowl. Tomlin arrived with just 1 year of experience as a defensive coordinator with the Minnesota Vikings. In his 18 seasons as Pittsburgh's head coach, Tomlin has compiled a career record of 187-10, 7-2 through 297 games. He has led the team to 12 playoff appearances, 7 division titles, 3 AFC championship games, 2 Super Bowl appearances, and a championship in Super Bowl 43. At age 36, Tomlin became the youngest head coach to win the Super Bowl. Sean McVay later broke that record in Super Bowl 56. Tomlin holds the NFL record for most consecutive non-losing seasons to begin a coaching career with 18. He has never had a losing season. Only Tom Landry with 21 and Bill Belichick with 19 have had longer such streaks at any point in their coaching careers. Tomlin became the NFL's longest tenured active head coach following Belichick's departure from the New England Patriots after the 2023 season. The Steelers franchise appears twice more on the all-time list. From 1935 to 1940, the team, known as the Pirates until 1940, went 57 straight games scoring no more than 7 first-quarter points. The franchise recorded an even longer streak of 63 consecutive games from 1940-1947, though that excludes the merger years with Philadelphia and Chicago due to World War II. The New York Giants snapped their historic 59-game streak last Thursday by scoring 13 first-quarter points in an upset victory over the Philadelphia Eagles. That makes Pittsburgh's streak the NFL's longest active one by a wide margin. The Carolina Panthers sit in second place at 34 consecutive games. Tomlin will attempt to stop his streak next Sunday night against the Green Bay Packers. Breaking it won't be easy. Entering Week 7, the Packers have not allowed a single first-quarter point this season. Thursday night's loss also extended another troubling trend for Tomlin. His record against AFC North teams on the road during Thursday night games dropped to 0-7. Overall, Tomlin's record in Thursday night games on the road stands at 2-10. The Steelers are 0-9 inches divisional road games on Thursday nights since 1970. The franchise holds a 14-21 all-time record on Thursday nights across all venues. Since the AFL-NFL merger in 1970, the Steelers are 3 16 inches Thursday road games. That represents the worst winning percentage of any NFL team during that span. The Cleveland Browns rank second at 2-8 with a .200 winning percentage. The New York Jets rank third at 3-11 with a .214 winning percentage. Pittsburgh's placement on this list, alongside historically struggling franchises, surprises observers. Under Tomlin, the Steelers hold a 9-12 overall record on Thursday nights. That includes 3 season openers and several games on Thanksgiving. Since Tomlin took over in 2007, Pittsburgh has been a strong home team but poor road team on Thursdays. In 20 games, the Steelers are 7-2 at home and 2-9 on the road. The team is 1-6 inches their last 6 Thursday night games overall. The lone victory came against the Tennessee Titans in 2023. Pittsburgh is 0-4 inches their last 4 road Thursday night games. The last road victory came against the Indianapolis Colts on Thanksgiving in 2016. 3 of Tomlin's 8 Thursday night road losses came against Cleveland. The most recent Cleveland defeat occurred in September 2022. Dating back to 1980, the Steelers have played 9 road Thursday night games against divisional opponents. They are 0 to 9 inches those contests. Tomlin addressed the media following Thursday's loss to Cincinnati. Just from an analysis perspective, I thought, the first half, we allowed them to run the ball too much. Tomlin said, Cincinnati rushed for 142 yards in the victory. Veteran quarterback Joe Flacco threw for 342 yards and 3 touchdowns in his second start for the Bengals since being traded by the Browns. The manner of the defeat proved particularly frustrating. Pittsburgh allowed 470 yards of total offense to the Bengals. Flacco accounted for 328 passing yards. The Steelers lost the time of possession battle 34-32 to 25-25. They allowed 6.2 yards per carry to a Cincinnati team that had struggled to run the football all season. The Bengals entered the game averaging just 56.7 rushing yards per contest. Tomlin also fell below 500 against Joe Flacco with the loss. His record against the veteran quarterback now stands at 11-12. The Steelers had raced out to a 10-0 lead in the first half before allowing 20 consecutive points. They trailed 17-10 at halftime after a series of miscues. Pittsburgh scored 31 points but could not overcome defensive breakdowns. The offensive struggles under Tomlin have persisted through multiple quarterback changes. From Mitchell Trubisky to Kenny Pickett to Justin Fields and Russell Wilson trading struggles last season, the personnel has varied. The arrival of Aaron Rodgers this year brought hope for offensive improvement. Even with the future Hall of Famer at quarterback, 7 points remains their cap in the opening quarter. The Steelers' offense has shown some improvement in getting faster starts overall. Pittsburgh has recorded more first-drive points this season than all of last year. They have found the end zone on opening drives in half of their games through 6 weeks. However, the offense struggles to stack opportunities and build larger early leads. The 10-0 advantage on Thursday turned into a deficit by halftime. Mike Tomlin's 18-year tenure with the Steelers has been defined by remarkable consistency. However, recent years have tested that stability. Since 2018, the Steelers have reached the playoffs only 3 times, 2020, 2021, 2023, losing each time in the wildcard round. Their last postseason win came in 2016, and the team hasn't made a Super Bowl appearance since 2010, when Tomlin's squad fell 31-25 to Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. 5 of Tomlin's 8 playoff victories occurred within his first 4 seasons. Despite that early success, playoff struggles and situational weaknesses, especially in first quarters and Thursday night divisional games, have fueled debate. The 56-game streak of scoring 7 or fewer first-quarter points and a 0-7 record in divisional road Thursday games now shadow his legacy. Still, Tomlin's job security remains strong. He signed an extension through 2027 worth $12.5 million annually, ranking among the NFL's top-paid coaches. Pittsburgh remains first in the AFC North at 4-2 despite the recent loss to Cincinnati. Looking ahead, Pittsburgh faces a challenging stretch against the Packers, Colts, and Chargers. For Tomlin, the mission is clear. Fix the slow starts, end the Thursday night curse, and reignite playoff momentum. Until those hurdles are cleared, questions about whether he can turn regular season steadiness into postseason success will continue to follow him. The Pittsburgh Steelers just plunged into their most chaotic 24 hours of the season. What began as a standard midweek preparation spiraled into a storm of controversy, injuries, and organizational urgency. Within a single day, headlines shifted from optimism to confusion. The first major blow came from the defensive backfield. Starting safety Deshaun Elliott was unexpectedly downgraded to questionable for Week 7 due to personal reasons. He did not travel with the team to Cincinnati, and his absence immediately altered defensive planning. Elliott had already missed 2 games earlier in the season because of a knee issue. In contrast, there was one positive update. Linebacker Malik Harrison, who had been on injured reserve since Week 1 with a knee injury, returned to practice. His activation marks a significant reinforcement to the front 7. Harrison's experience and size provide a much-needed rotational option for a defense that has been overworked through the first 6 games. However, player health was not the only issue. The conditions at Acrisure Stadium became a point of national debate after multiple players complained to the NFL Players Association about the state of the playing surface. Following Pittsburgh's 23-9 win over the Cleveland Browns, reports surfaced that several players were unhappy with the turf quality. Kicker Chris Boswell had slipped during a field goal attempt, dislodging a large patch of grass with his plant foot. Observers noted visible divots across the surface, particularly in the middle zones between the hash marks. Team captain Cameron Hayward, who also serves as Pittsburgh's player representative to the NFLPA, was more direct. Speaking to reporters after practice, he said the surface was unacceptable and added that multiple teammates had expressed the same sentiment privately. He cited the example of Miles Killebrew, who suffered a non-contact knee injury after his cleat planted awkwardly in the turf. While internal focus centered on player health, external attention turned to the team's trade outlook. Multiple league sources reported that the Steelers are exploring the acquisition of a wide receiver before the upcoming trade deadline. Among the names circulated is Jakobi Meyers, the veteran receiver currently with the Las Vegas Raiders. Meyers recorded over 1,000 receiving yards in 2024 and recently requested a trade. Pittsburgh's interest reportedly stems from an ongoing evaluation of its passing attack, which has struggled to generate consistency beyond its top target. Reports have also mentioned Michael Gallup, though Gallup's availability remains uncertain after his placement on the reserve, retired list earlier this year. The Steelers' scouting staff has been monitoring other potential options across both conferences. Tomlin declined to comment directly on specific targets but said the organization is always looking for ways to strengthen the roster where appropriate. That phrasing aligns with General Manager Omar Khan's recent pattern of seeking mid-season depth through trades, a strategy previously used to address linebacker and cornerback shortages. The renewed trade activity follows a sequence of offensive struggles. Through 6 games, Pittsburgh ranks in the lower half of the league in total offense and red zone efficiency. The coaching staff has privately acknowledged the need for an additional receiving option to stretch defenses vertically. The interest in Meyers reportedly originated from offensive coordinator Arthur Smith, who has emphasized balanced formations and quick intermediate routes. Meanwhile, their next opponent, the Cincinnati Bengals, faces challenges of its own. Defensive end Trey Hendrickson, who led the NFL in sacks during the 2024 season, is listed as questionable with a hip injury. He missed Wednesday's practice and is expected to be a game-time decision. Hendrickson has accumulated 4 sacks through 6 games in 2025. His potential absence could significantly alter Cincinnati's pass rush against Pittsburgh's offensive line, which has shown improvement in recent weeks. The Bengals also placed tight end Mike Gesicki on injured reserve with a pectoral injury and ruled out Tanner Hudson due to a concussion. The injury situation has therefore affected both sides of the matchup. For Pittsburgh, the uncertainty surrounding Elliott leaves the defense shorthanded in the secondary. Safeties Chuck Clark, Jabril Peppers, and Juan Thornhill are expected to rotate, with potential emergency support from Jalen Ramsey in sub-packages. The coaching staff has spent the week adjusting defensive schemes to accommodate those contingencies. Tomlin's comments addressed all 3 fronts, health, field, and trade, in a concise but pointed manner. Regarding the injuries, he said that Elliott's situation is being handled internally and that the team respects his need for privacy. He praised Harrison's return and called it an important boost to defensive depth. On the field conditions, Tomlin reaffirmed that the club had already begun coordination with maintenance crews for immediate correction, noting that the field replacement will be completed before their next home appearance. His acknowledgement of the issue was rare for an active coach to make public, which underscores the severity of player concerns. Internally, several members of the organization have described the last 48 hours as the most demanding stretch of the season so far. The confluence of a national field safety story, a key starter's absence, and active trade negotiations has shifted Pittsburgh's weekly rhythm. Team meetings have included extended discussions about player safety and readiness for a short-week road game. Media coverage across the league continues to highlight Acrisure Stadium's surface as a focal point for broader player safety reform. The NFLPA has previously flagged the stadium twice since 2019 for similar concerns, primarily after high-impact games played in cold and wet conditions. This week's complaints mark the 3rd such instance in 6 seasons. League data shows that Pittsburgh's home field hosts an average of 20 events per year, including football and college games, which accelerates wear and tear. The current plan calls for a full resodding using hybrid Bermuda grass before the next Steelers home game in late October. As for roster adjustments, front office personnel have remained in close communication with agents across the league. Pittsburgh's remaining salary cap space stands near $8 million, sufficient for a mid-tier acquisition without releasing a starter. Jakobi Meyers' contract runs through 2026, with a base salary of $11 million per year, which would require partial restructuring or salary offset. Despite the financial complexity, analysts expect the Steelers to remain active in discussions until the final trade window closes. The atmosphere at the Steelers' practice facility has been described as intense but controlled. Training sessions have focused on technique refinement rather than heavy physical contact, an approach aimed at minimizing further injuries. Conditioning coach Garrett G. Mont has been working closely with the medical team to monitor recovery workloads for players returning from injury,